In discussing where he is, he left out a few things. I noticed he didn't mention the $500 billion in Medicare cuts. He didn't mention the $500 billion, $500 billion in new taxes. And he didn't mention that the size of this measure, when fully implemented over a 10-year period, is $2.5 trillion in new spending. Now, I appreciate, we all do, the President's call for a bipartisan approach. But where we're headed through the use of reconciliation means that the only thing that will be bipartisan about this proposal is the opposition to it. The opposition to it. It is abundantly clear that the President and the Democratic leadership are calling upon their members to ignore the wishes of the American people. We know where the people are. It's not even close. Never in my time here have I dealt with an issue that people paid more attention to than to this one. And if you think about it, we're all interested in our health care, no matter what age we are. You get a little more interested when you get older, but everybody is focused on this issue like a laser. And we know where they are on this subject. And our Democratic friends know where they are on this subject. So this is really not an argument between Democrats and Republicans. It's an argument between Democrats and the American people. And to hark back just for a moment to the Scott Brown election, there were a lot of after-action reviews about what happened in Massachusetts and why. One thing is clear. If you look at the surveys that were taken, you guys didn't do any exit polls, but there were polls taken that day of voters asking them why they did what they did. In the most liberal state in America, 48% mentioned health care. No other subject had more than 5%. So looking at the political situation, I don't think there's a Democrat in the House of Representatives or the Senate who fails to understand that the American people are not for this. If they're not for it in Massachusetts, they're not for it anywhere. So what are the leaders left with arguing to their members? Well, one argument that's been used is make history. Looking at this poll data, one could conclude that you would be history if you voted for this bill. Another argument being made is, we know everybody dislikes this. We know we're asking you to do something courageous, but just listen to us. If we'll pass it, it'll be behind us. Well, listen, I assure you that if this bill is somehow passed, it won't be behind our Democratic friends, it'll be ahead of them. Because every election in America this fall will be a referendum on this issue. And there's an overwhelming likelihood that every Republican candidate will be campaigning to repeal it. So the issue will not be behind them, it will be ahead of them. And we're likely to have as close as we've ever had in this country to a national referendum on an issue. We don't usually have national referenda, but this could well be a national referendum.